to our bodies as a kind of machine. Her interest in food and sex and beer are also these kinds of things. They're sort of turned up all the way, right? She has these huge appetites that she makes no qualms about having, but then she also kind of feels embarrassed and almost prudish in describing them, but that doesn't stop her from describing these things. So really, she has come to believe that humans and machines have a lot more in common than anyone would think. But going back to this question about, does she have the vocabulary? Does she have the kind of academic wherewithal to put it that way? She just doesn't have it. So she has to struggle with it using her own language. She has these great ideas, but she doesn't quite know how to put them into words, so she just slams things together that we as college-educated people have been in college a lot longer than she has, have learned all sorts of new languages, might be able to express in a more sophisticated way.
I see. On a slightly different note, what made you turn from chemistry to writing?
Well, as I said before, I kind of conquered the field of chemistry, invented all these weirdo adhesives, and then I suddenly realized it was just going to be the same thing for the rest of my life. There would be a new adhesive to invent for some weird application or for some highly specialized application. One of my greatest inventions was a glue that didn't really stick. The company I was working for was able to sell huge amounts of this stuff. It was amazing. But I didn't see any future in it, you know, because it seemed like, okay, there'll be a new assignment. You'll have to come up with this adhesive, and then you'll do it. And then you'll have to come up with that adhesive. So I kind of got bored with it. I'd always been a big reader, so it was more or less natural to, once I realized that I didn't want to be a chemist after studying it and working at it for several years, the next thing I thought I wanted to be was a reader. And I didn't really have enough literary background from my undergrad days to do it, so I went off to grad school to do that. So in some respects, I don't think I really left chemistry, or at least science, behind. I've still remained very interested in it. And a lot of the stories I write and a lot of the other fiction I write is very much interested in kind of the collision between science and art, let's say. It's not exactly science fiction, although as you get through the end of this book, you might see some science fiction elements in it, but it's way in the background. I'm much more interested in science and fiction.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Dave, I'm intrigued by the glue that doesn't stick. Was it a kind of deliberate con, like let's sell people glue that's not going to work and then they'll buy more glue, or was there an application?
No, it was Boeing Aircraft Company needed a new masking tape because when they were building the 747s, they would build the fuselage until that was done, and they would build the whole wing in one piece. And then they had to glue the wing to the body, the fuselage of the plane. To be able to do that, they had to dip the whole wing in this acid bath at 600 degrees Fahrenheit, I believe, under enormous pressure. And they would put masking tape over most of the wing with just this little strip left to get etched by the acid, because then you could glue the two things together. So they needed something. They needed a masking tape that more or less wouldn't stick, would kind of lay flat on the wing, and could take 600 degrees hydrochloric acid for many hours, and then just be peeled off nicely. And nobody could do it, but because they would, you know, you couldn't get the tape off. It would burn. It would dissolve. It would become permanently bonded to the wing. But I was able to find the secret. They all thought you worked with a glue that stuck, and I realized right away, well, you want a glue that doesn't stick. So you study up on what makes a glue sticky, and then you do the opposite, and you get a glue that doesn't stick. But it's still glue, if you can wrap your head around that.
It's blowing my mind.
Yeah.
I can see your joy as you talk about this. Do you get to hold the patent on these things, or it was all done through your employer? And
Well, when you show up for work on the first day as a chemist, your administrative assistant meets you in the parking lot. And before you even come into the lab, you have to sign away every patent right that you would ever have. You're not even allowed in the building on your first day unless you've already signed this release. So no, you don't get anything. The company gets
Does
it.
the tape at least bear your name, like Dave Tape?
No, no, I'm the anonymous and unknown guy who invented it, but the company is the one who made quite a bit of money selling it to Boeing.
So is there something about being an author where you get to keep your name and affiliate your name with a text that plays into this kind of career agon you had and overcame?
Well, I don't know. I'm also very interested in anonymity and what that might be as a force, how that might be an active thing you can do rather than just sort of a passive thing you can do. There's all sorts of theory and theorists who are interested in that as well. So I'm not particularly interested in the fact that my name shows up on the book, but I'm very interested in the fact that the book shows up in the world, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, totally, it does. Absolutely. We're moving toward the end of our time, but I thought since we've been very close readers for at least 2/3 of this book,
Yes, yes.
I wonder if you have some questions for us you want to lay out here, things that we're feeling or thinking or interpretations or just our general response as your readers. Because so often we want to hear from you,
Yeah.
but maybe you want to hear from us.
Well, one of the things that guy, what was his name, Anonymous said,
Yeah,
Um,
Anon
says, well, once again, was one of the things I would have asked. Does the world that Rianne lives in seem like a real world, or given the fact that she's kind of over the top, does the world seem straightforward enough so that she can be over the top?
Let's see if we can move into the audience for some answers.
I guess I'm also interested in if people like Rianne or if they mock her.
Who wants to comment? I'm going to bring the microphone to you now if it reaches. Let's talk a little bit to the author here. Kelly, you look like you're ready to say something.
Well, I think the world that Rianne lives in is more surreal than anything that I've experienced. But I have never been to that area before, so again, I wouldn't really know. But to me, it seems very low class, and that's just something that I've never been in before.
I get you. So it seems more distant from anything you're familiar with.
No low class for you. Yeah.
Well, she can't help it. And if you remember from the beginning of the book, they were a little bit better off than the people in the town that she lives in, and they never would have to go to someone like Cloyd Shoup. They'd go to a store if they needed a washing machine. So she's already kind of an alien in her own town to a certain degree.
Good, excellent. Any other burning questions you might have for us who are reading public?
Well, I'm always interested in whether or not people buy the events of the book. Do they seem compelling? Do they seem as if I think the word surreal in this case is actually pretty good, because there is some strong feeling of dream-like qualities to the book. But I also wanted it to be real, and I definitely wanted to have it be funny, but also kind of disturbing at the same time. So that would probably be my main question. Did people laugh? And did they kind of get the willies as well at different times? And if either of those happened, I'd be happy. And if both of those happened, I'd be extremely happy.
That's a good question. Who will chime in on that?
It's hard to answer an author's question.
Yeah, especially when you're on a camera and your professor has a microphone. But let's try it anyway.
This is a bold experiment, Davis.
It is.
I have to say that at first, getting into your book, your pacing was very interesting, and I wasn't too fond of Rianne, but she really grew on me, and I did start experiencing the emotions as I got further into the second, maybe third of the book.
Yeah, what didn't you like about her at first?
Well, it was so foreign to me that it was difficult to embrace her,
I get you.
I guess, diction and her syntax. Plus, just she does come off very strong, and I started to like that after a while, but I think you have to get used to that.
Oh, yeah, I think you do, too. You have to work up to it.
Excellent. Okay. Good. And Dave, why don't you tell us a joke of some sort?
Oh, God. The only joke I know takes about 15 minutes to tell, so I
You know,
better...
someone has said you could play the ukulele for us.
Um,
Do you have it there? There is no ukulele, is there?
I don't know where it is right now.
Oh, boy, it was all a lie.
Sorry.
Hey, we want to thank you for spending this hour or so with us.
Oh, I would like to thank you for assigning the book and for having me come talk to you guys. It's kind of weird because it's all kind of blurry, but it's also kind of neat.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Let's see if I can get a little closer to the screen. I'm going to try that now by walking over to the computer. And let's put our fingers out like we're touching. Can you do that? Are you seeing my hand there? Oh, no, because the camera is... Okay, there we go.
Yeah, very good, very good.
Wait, I got it. There we are.
Yeah,
Okay,
hey.
good. Now, it's customary after we do these readings to take the author out for a drink, so we're going to meet you at the bar.
Okay.
And, you know, just ring up a tab, tell them it's on us, and we'll come by and take care of it in a few
All
hours.
right, very good. I am going to go out and have a beer now, by the way.
All right, thank you so much, and
Thank
we'll...
you, Davis, and thank you, Davis's students.
Excellent, thanks. A big hand for Dave Kress for his time.